You clicked on this video because you want to actually learn how to run cold email successfully so you and your agent could actually scale, book appointments, and scale to 10, 30, 40, $50,000 a month without a problem. Okay. I'm going to show you those 6 things that you actually need to scale cold email. But one thing you gotta do is actually watch this whole video through, because the people who actually have the patience, which I'm going to cover in this video, have the patience to watch this video whole through, then they're actually going to learn how to run cold email successfully without, doing other things. All right. So for the people that are gonna watch this and the whole all the way through, let's go into this. And for those who are not, it is what it is. Do yourself. Okay. So the first thing we're gonna do is we need copywriting. Why do we need copywriting? Because if you're not getting replies, nothing else matters, and people don't have the attention span to don't let them leave the email. So until it's like fully read, and attention is the most valuable currency with cold email, and earn it with a good copy. Okay. This is the main things with copywriting, right? You actually need to get replies, and because other way, how else can you do it? And how you can actually learn copywriting is actually analyze your own or someone else's winning cold copies to find a winning structure. Okay. Once you have a winning formula, once your brain starts to understand what you actually need to make people reply back to you, to make people to book appointments with you, then everything changes. And from then on, you almost every time you write a copy, it's gonna be successful. Maybe it's not gonna be the best copy in the world, but it's gonna be successful so that the amount of time you're spending, the amount of effort you're putting in, and the amount of money you're spending on cold email, it's actually worth it. This way, you have a winning formula, and then you can scale it. Okay, which I'm gonna talk a bit later on this. Other thing on how to get good at copywriting is actually educate yourself on copywriting by reading books, watch YouTube videos. You can go to like seminars, courses, whatever, anything that you do to help yourself learn. Just it will help you. Okay, so I just put up a few books I've read that are good and actually learned a lot from them, which is the Copywriter's Handbook, written by Robert Bly. This is the 4th edition, and then Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. Okay, so this book is really easy to get. This one is quite hard, especially the hard copy. I think it costs like a couple hundreds of bucks. So there are like PDF files and uh, other content on the internet itself. You might have to search for it. If you want, you can join my Discord group, ask for the copy, and I'll be able to send it over to you, because I don't want to be pirating or anything like this. So if you want it, I can share it with you. Okay. And the last thing is actually put the reps in, test different versions to build skill, and you'll start recognizing winning formulas. Right? Like I mentioned earlier, once you get good at copywriting, it's to the point where you have formulas, you have systems and like theories as well as like frameworks in your mind, somewhere in your brain, where once you see a copy, it clicks and you say, okay, it's a good one or a bad one. Okay, you get at that point of a skill that you actually understand what is good, what is bad, how to make it better, how to make it worse, and that kind of stuff. All right. So this was for the copywriting. Again, it's really, really important to understand what copywriting is and how to make it, really good. Okay. And by the way, all of these points, right, go in with each other, right? It's not like one separate thing here, one separate thing here, one separate thing here. Everything is combined, right? Once you get good at all of those, you are gonna be fucking making bank with cold email. All right. So now the other really important thing is actually having patience, right? Like I mentioned in the first of the video, the people who actually have the patience, the people who actually learn and want to learn and have the patience to sit down through, however long this video gonna take, they're gonna sit down and actually watch it over, take the information and use it. These are the people that can actually, that have the patience and actually gonna succeed with cold email. Okay, and by the sounds of it, you're one of them, because you're actually watching and trying to learn more information on how to get good at cold email. This way, you are actually booking appointments and making money. Okay, now why do we need patience? Because cold email has latency. Okay, if let's say today you send out a cold email and no replies tomorrow, because cold email has latencies. Okay, I get replies sometimes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month after a cold email, because again, people are busy. You have not probably sent out all the follow-ups in the time, as well as, again, people don't respond quickly. We are in a trust recession, which means people don't trust people that much, especially with cold emails, because there's a lot of AI spam, a lot of scammers around, and anything could go wrong. Especially, for example, if you're selling marketing, people get hundreds, probably some people get thousands of cold emails trying to sell them marketing. Okay, so just get that in your mind that not everything is around you. Understand that people are busy, people get spammed a lot, and you actually have to, work your way through it and have patience to do it with. Okay. Another thing is one bad day doesn't mean nothing. One good day also means nothing. Okay. Again, you gotta have patience. If one day is shit, other day is good, it means nothing. Make yourself think on time frames. Like it could be a week, month, uh, 2 years maybe, right? You're trying to get a cold email and like in a week, you're probably not going to be really good at it. Okay, but if you do it for 6 months, for 12 months, for 24 months, I'm guessing you should be really good at it. And by the time you've done it for 6 months at least, you'll be really good at it. Okay, maybe not the best in the world, right? But you'll be good enough that you can actually get results for you, or maybe you're doing it for your clients or whatever. Okay, so don't worry about if it's a bad day. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes just there are stuff like elections, holidays, or whatever. Just think of such things that, it's not your fault. It's just a bad day or a good day. It doesn't matter. Okay. And emotions won't help you scale. Rely on your brain to make the decisions. Don't gamble. Play actually systematically. Okay. And yeah, I mean, just don't use emotions when it comes to like business. Obviously, sometimes it's good to have, like a gut feeling or whatever. But with cold email, it's an absolutely a map game. So everything is predictable once you have enough volume and enough scale. Okay. So don't use emotions to actually make decisions. Just be patient with it and actually use your brain, use your logic, because as a business owner, I feel like you should have at least some of it and actually think what would be the right decision right now. Okay, don't do impulsive decisions. Don't let emotions take over your brain and then make dumb decisions which you're gonna regret later. Okay, so how to actually get the patience that you need to run cold email is commit to volume before judging results. Okay, for example, I say to me and my clients, what you gotta do is wait to send out at least 3,000 leads. Okay, reach 3,000 leads before you actually make tests, like actual tangible tests. Okay, obviously, if you make some spelling mistakes, like errors, you can kind of make a change real quick and just adjust it. But for things like actually making a test, for example, you're testing subject lines or whatever, actually commit to volume before you get make any changes, because you need data. Data is the most important thing in business in my eyes. If you don't have data, you don't know what to change, you don't know what improvements, what you could do to what could be your next steps. Once you have data, for example, you send out 3,000, even let's say 2,000 new leads, you get data, you get the feedback, then you have multiple steps that you can iterate on. For example, if you see that no one is replying to your email, then is it the deliverability? Is it the offer? Or maybe no one is opening your email because your subject line is bad. Okay, so these are going to be the three options, but you will never know it if you don't have the metrics. Okay, or for example, if you're getting positive replies but you're not getting enough of them, you may think, okay, sorry, another example, you're getting positive replies but you're not getting bookings. Okay, for example, you got out of 1,000 emails you sent, you got 10 replies, which means you're having a 0.1%, let's say even you get 100 replies and none of them book. Okay, so this could be maybe not your problem is not with the cold emails, nothing with the offer, because obviously people are replying, but the problem is you're not doing good follow-ups, okay, or not doing any follow-ups. That could be the big issue. But if you don't track that, you will not understand what is the issue. Okay, so be patient, actually wait it out. Okay, I kind of went into a few other things of which I'm going to talk in the future, but it is what it is. And separate emotions from your decisions. Again, I kind of went over this. So, and stop touching campaigns too early. Create deadlines for yourself, okay? So, if you launch a new campaign, like a new test for a already running campaign, just leave it. Leave it until you reach 3,000, 2,000 leads at least, and then you can actually make changes. I know how tempting it is to actually see if you could make anything better, slightly adjust it, and then maybe get better results. But trust me, from my experience, it doesn't work like that. Okay. You actually want to have tangible end goals. For example, I'm going to reach 2,000 leads and then I'm going to make an adjustment if needed. Okay. So actually wait it out, have your patience. Okay. Please trust me on this step. Okay. Other thing I kind of went into is metric tracking. Okay. Like I mentioned, without metrics, your business is gone. You have to know absolutely every number in your business. And if you don't know it by mind, at least have it on your sheets. Okay. Now, why do you need it? Because without metrics, you're just playing a guessing game and you don't see the whole picture. Okay. Once you have the metrics, you see the whole picture, you see your whole business going on, especially with cold email. You see what is working, what is not working. Is there is it your deliverability? Are you going to spam? Are you, is your offer not good? Is your email too long? Is your subject line bad? A lot of things come into play. And once you have those metrics, you can actually weed out the problems and then find the main ones. Okay. And emotions come into play and you think it's not working, but it turns out it's better than your previous test. Okay. For example, you might be thinking, as a previous example, you're getting a bunch of positive replies, but no one is booking the calls with you. Okay. You might think, oh, my offer is bad, my copy is bad, and my emails suck. But in the end, your emails don't suck. They're actually working really well. You're just not following up with people, right? Maybe you're not calling up leads. Maybe you're not just, and sending any follow-ups, or maybe your campaign is just not sending follow-ups because something's wrong with the software. You have to track absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. And knowing your number helps you plan your scaling process, okay? Since cold email is an absolute math game, okay? For example, what I mean by math game, if you're sending 1,000 emails a day and your booking rate is 0.1%, that means if you've done it for a long enough time and you've gotten the same or like an average result of 0.1% booking rate, that means you're able, if you send 5,000 emails a day, you should be booking 5 appointments a day. Okay. If you send 3,000 emails a day, you should be booking 3 appointments a day. Okay. Again, latency also comes into play. So one day you maybe book, 6 appointments, one day maybe you book 3 appointments. Okay. But on the average scale, for example, in a month scale, you should be booking, for example, with 1,000 emails a day, sending with a booking rate of 0.1, you should be booking 30 appointments. Okay. That's simple math. Now, how do you actually track the metrics? Is track emails to new lead send, positive replies, and bookings. These are the most important ones, okay? Emails to the new leads that you reach, positive replies, and booking. Track absolutely everything at the end of the day or the end of the week. End of the week might be less accurate because you might miss something or, whatever happened in the week. So what I like to do is track at the end of the day, or as soon as I get a positive reply, I go into my sheet and actually track it this way. Okay, this way I'm not missing anything. I see what's happening behind the scenes and, I have the whole picture in my eyes. And when a positive reply or booking is received, then track it the day the lead was initially reached out to and not the current date. What I mean by that is, let me get my pencil. For example, I send out an email on Monday, okay? Now, I do receive a reply on Thursday. What happens in my tracking sheet, I'm gonna say emails. Let me make it a bit, make it a bit smaller. Okay. So basically, I sent out an email. Okay, email sent was one on Monday. Okay, one on Monday. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tag the pause replies and the booking. Okay. Now what I'm gonna track is Monday. Let's say is the 1st of December. Let's call it first, second, third, fourth, fifth, basically, is do that. So if I get the positive reply on Thursday, I'm not gonna track it here, right? What I'm gonna do is actually open up the email thread, okay, and find that, hey, the initial email was sent on Monday, and I'm gonna track positive reply on Monday. Okay, same thing with the booking. If I do get a booking on Sunday, it doesn't mean I'm gonna book it. I'm gonna write it down on that I got the booking on Monday. What I'm gonna do, again, I open up the email thread with the lead, and then I mark it on Monday. Okay, this way you're actually tracking everything properly, because, for example, if you create a new campaign on Monday and then a new campaign on Thursday, probably the copy gonna change. And what you actually want to find out is, with latency, which copy works better. And after, let's say, 2 weeks, every follow-up was sent to leads from, this campaign. Then what you're gonna do is see which of those two campaigns work better. Okay. So basically, my point is track all of the metrics to the initial email send. Okay. If you're getting a reply after a few days, then track it back to the initial email send date. Cool. So yeah, that was the whole point I wanna try to make. And the other thing is never-ending testing. Okay, why do we need that? Because what works today may not work tomorrow, and it's true, right? Same in life. If something's working today, it may not work today, tomorrow. Same thing. But I mentioned with the point I mentioned earlier. There are good days and there are bad days. It just happens. So, and the market gets used to your offer, which may make it go down, okay? Because, for example, if you're reusing leads, people will understand that, hey, this guy already reached out to me, or they already, seen the offer and they don't like it anymore. So you actually have to make tests. And always have an option B if shit goes south, right? It may happen, right? If shit goes south and you don't have an option B, you might be, scrambling for other copy and trying new tests, and then you'll make impulsive decisions, which again, like I mentioned earlier, gonna be bad for your business. Okay. So how do you actually make the test? Test one, and I mentioned like gotta even mark it, one variable at a time. Okay, this lets you know what actually made the improvement. For example, if you change the subject line, and after a week of testing, you understand, okay, by changing the subject line, I got more reply rates. Okay, cool. This means this test was successful. But if you were to change a subject line and let's say the offer as well, then you get a week goes by and then you see the result. You got better results, but you don't actually know what worked, right? What made the difference? What is the subject line or was the offer change? Okay, so make only one variable, change only one variable at a time and test it out. Okay, don't be greedy. Don't try to save time and test a bunch of stuff at once. Make it a one variable. Do it really patiently, and you will not have problems with testing. And have your current winner send 80% of the volume and create a new campaign with 20% of the new volume for testing. Okay, so let's say you already found a winner campaign. What you're gonna do is you're gonna basically split everything into 80% is gonna be for the winner and 20% for the testing. Why you wanna do that? Because this winner is probably gonna get still gonna book your appointments and everything will be going cool. And with the 20%, it's gonna be just testing things, and you won't have a problem if the winner just stops working. Then you have the uh, testing copy, or like testing email, testing offer, whatever you tested, and then you have like a plan B that actually is gonna work for you. Okay, and you wanna test subject lines, first lines, PS lines, offer, framework, personalization, lead source, email providers, whatever you can get your hands on and you think could be the main problem in the cold email. If it didn't work, you just gotta test it. Okay. Now, the other thing is the automations. Okay. Why do we need automations? Because it saves time. Because you can actually have leverage in your process. Okay. Because at one point you're gonna have, a lot of emails sending out probably, and you want more appointments to scale the business, maybe have sales reps or whatever to take care of. You want to have more volume. To increase more volume, you don't want to add more labor because it's gonna put, you more headaches. What you gotta do, have leverage with automations. And it actually lets you scale much faster than manual processes. I guess it makes sense, right? If you have a manual process and you can actually make it automated, this way you can use scale much, much, much faster. And you can actually save time and brain effort to create campaigns that don't actually suck. Okay? Because once you have a proven framework, or once you have a proven offer or like similar offers that you can do, which you can teach like ChatGPT or like any AI to learn this process and actually create cold emails every single time that are really good. Okay, that's at least what we do. Now, how are you gonna put the automations into work? And first off, don't go balls deep at first. Try automating 50% of your process, so you're still touching the process manual to get a winning formula. Okay, because once you start automating things, it might be it might crash for you. Okay, if you haven't touched automations or you haven't done it successfully in the past, what you want to do first, test it out, see if it works with 50% of it doing manually, and then you can actually once it's working, scale it to 100% automation and doing it really really smoothly. Okay, and once once a winning formula is in place, you can automate your process to scale by using softwares or manual labor. Okay, what I mean by softwares is you can use softwares for automating lead scraping, validation of leads, personalization, setting the campaigns, and many other tasks that you can think of, and use manual labor for creating the campaigns, writing copies using AI to help if needed, and replying to leads. Okay, using AI, for example, personalization, again, is I guess the best friend right now in cold email game is you can actually scrape the leads with AI, find their stuff, learn more about them, and create personalized lines with AI. Okay? And now I guess the most important thing is actually knowing the human psychology. Okay? Why? because your prospects get cold emails hundreds of times every week, and you actually have to make yourself stand out. But how are you going to do that if you don't know the basics of human psychology? And by interrupting their patterns, they give you attention, which is crucial. Like I mentioned, and at the start of the video, attention is the best currency that we can have as a cold email person. Okay, because if you don't control attention and decisions, you never reach the sale. Okay, once you have the impulse, once you make them interested in your cold email and your offer, and get your attention, then people gonna pause the reply to you and actually book appointments with you. Okay. Now, how can you do that? Is actually break the expected pattern in the first line, or they may not continue reading. Okay, you actually give them some sauce or something you learn more about them that makes you stand out, right? For example, what I'm successful with cold emails is actually make good personalization that looks human, even though the process is completely automated and done with AI. Okay, and then I get, for example, replies and people saying to me, "Hey, I love the approach. I mean, I love that you looked over my reviews and that kind of stuff, and I'm gonna book a call." Okay, this is as easy as it is. You just have to be slightly better than your competition because, again, remember, absolutely everyone is using AI to write their emails. I guess most of the people, and they suck at it, right? They don't look over the copies. They don't actually put effort into it. And if you slightly be better than those people and actually, use a pattern interrupt, you're gonna get much, 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 much better results. Okay, and understand what are their biggest pains and structure your offer around it. Okay, you actually want to sell something that you can fix their problems. You don't want to sell a service that they don't need. All right, you may think they need it, but after market research, you're gonna find out that they may not need it. Okay, so actually find out what are the problems and then fix it. Right, if you have a problem and you can give them a solution, they're gonna pay you money. As simple as that. That's simple math behind it. And work with basic human desire rather than against them. This will help you get them over the line and book a call easier, right? Like the point about actually know what they want. If they want it, they're gonna book a call. If they don't want it, they're not gonna book a call. You're not gonna force them, right? This is cold email. With cold calls, you can kind of play with psychology and that kind of stuff. But with cold emails, is how it is. It is what it is. They work on your time. I guess you work on their time because once they open the email, they can either book a call, schedule a call, reply positively, and maybe ask even questions. All right. So this was the whole 6 steps, which are copywriting, patience, metric tracking, never-ending testing, automations, and human psychology. Okay, so these are the main steps that are gonna help you actually be good at cold email. And if you watch this video the whole way through, thank you. Right, you're the person that I'm really confident that you're gonna be successful with cold email because it's not hard. You just have to learn these things, and it becomes really easy. Okay, I guess with everything in life, you just gotta learn, and then it becomes easy. Cool. Now, if you want, I guess, more help or you want to just chat with someone in the cold email space, I have my Discord group. It's a free community that you can join in the first link in the description. Okay, join it, ask any questions. You can get your copies reviewed, you can post your wins, and I want to build a community that is actually able to book appointments on demand without having any problems. And I'm happily gonna share all of my knowledge I have with cold emails. You could actually start booking appointments and growing the business. All right. So I appreciate you. Have an amazing day and bye bye.